Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's commentary of a game that was played in 2010. Red was Grandmaster Hong Zhi, Black was his master or Shifu, Grandmaster Liu Dahua. The event was at the Wutang Cup, which was a tournament back in 2010. This game was selected as one of the top 50 brevities by the periodical Qiyi in a series that ran for a few years. I forgot which year this entry came out from. So without further ado, let us begin the match. Grandmaster Hong Zhi, disciple of Grandmaster Liu Dahua, he started with the central cannon. And Black chose to defend with the screenhouse defense. Red chose the 7th pawn advancement variation, and Black countered likewise. The pawn rank Chariot attack. And in this match, Black chose to play e3 plus 5. Now, other commonly played moves would be c8 equals to 9 or h7 plus 6, etc. for different variations or opening systems in the central cannon versus screenhouse defense. With e3 plus 5, Black would choose to play a more steadfast game with more emphasis on defense. Red did not play r2 equals to 3, but chose to develop his left chariot. And this was the time when Grandmaster Liu Dahua, he played a very unorthodox move. Now, faced with his disciple, who was known for his prowess in the opening phase, the Grandmaster, who was about 60 years old already at that time, decided to play a very interesting move. Now, according to the periodical Qiyi, this move has never been ever seen since then, after this match was played. Now, this was quite a novelty. So Black could deliberately push c2 plus 1, threatening to play p3 plus 1 for a discovered attack on the chariot, and it would actually entice or encourage the red chariot to play r2 equals to 3 to try to capture the horse. And there will be many complicated situations that follow. Now, in the match, Red accepted Black's challenge and played r2 equals to 3. Now, other possible ways of playing would probably include c8 equals to 9 for Red to develop his cannons as the 5-9 cannons, and threaten this cannon by developing his left chariot as a foul chariot. So, let's say a possible line. Red would try to change formations and refuse to trade chariots, and Black would still have a playable game. Now, if Red did not develop his chariot and chose to charge the horse to the riverbank, threatening to capture the cannon, a possible line would be and Black would have an advantage in this situation. So Red would have a very awkward positioning of the pieces. Now, these were some of the moves that were suggested in the magazine. And I encourage all viewers to go to the website where I have uploaded interactive boards for you to compare the variations at your own pace. And the videos will be uploaded there also, so you can compare the variations while watching the video. R2 equals to 4 or R2 equals to 6 will lead to another complicated variation, and Black can be satisfied in these 3 lines. Another possibility would be to develop the left chariot as a ranked chariot to speed up the development of the major pieces. So if Black continued p3 plus 1, Black will retreat the chariot, and black would go for something the double-headed snake pawns formation of the screen house defense. And this would be a transposition of another very popular position. It will lead to other very complicated situations. Now, if p3 plus 1 were not played and black chose to develop his chariot, it would also lead to a situation where black would still have a playable game, although red would have a slight advantage. So all this would lead to very complicated positions. Now, red accepted in the match. Red accepted his master's challenge and played r2 equals to 3. And black continued as planned, sacrificing the horse so early by the 7th ply in the game. Now, this move will later be deemed as too risky, sacrificing the horse so early in the game, and according to the magazine, this was the only time that it was ever seen in actual tournaments. Now, usually in this position, h3 minus 5 is played, whereby the horses will be linked together. Black will still be threatening to capture the chariot, and red could counter with h7 plus 6, pushing the pawn forward, blocking the cannon, and this move would prevent or discourage black from playing r1 equals to 3. If it did, red will simply capture the elephant to threaten with the checkmate and capture the trade material. So there would be it would be a very complicated situation, but the main idea would be to discourage r1 equals to 3. Black would choose to counter with c2 plus 3, threatening to attack the chariot from behind with c2 equals to 7 later on. p3 plus 1, threatening the pawn. And as can be seen, the situation will be very complicated. Black will retreat the cannon, preparing to play c8 equals to 7 to storm this file. The horse will be threatening to play to attack, etc. So this will be a very complicated situation. And for Xiangqi fans who know the Grandmasters well, Grandmaster Hong Zhi is well known for his preference in playing very complicated positions. So Grandmaster Liu Dahua was perhaps giving his protege a test, a midterm test, I suppose. Okay, so back to the game. Black continued with p3 plus 1, and red accepted black's sacrifice. Black continued with p3 plus 1, and red continued with p3 plus 1 of his own. This is a commonly used tactic whereby red would try to trade pawns so that his chariot can get back into the open. The chariot here will be closed and vulnerable to attack. So that is why red chose to trade pawns and forsake the threat of this pawn later on. But black would have none of it and chose to play c8 equals to 4 and threatened to play c8 equals to 7 later on. And because of the threat of the pawn advancing, red would retreat his horse to the central file. Black would continue with c8 equals to 7, and pressure will be piling up on this flank. Red tries to counter attack, and black develops the horse h3 plus 2, giving up his central pawn in the process. Now this move would discourage or prevent red from developing his left chariot, or the cannon will simply capture it. So, but the black pawn will now be given up, and after the check, black would simply play a4 plus 5 and prepare to develop his chariot r1 equals to 4. So at this point in time, we can see that this chariot, after capturing the red horse, was still in a close position, and red's horses are linked at the centroid, and this would be a major cause of concern. So at this point in time, red decided to retreat his cannon. Now this was a blunder in retrospect, and black should have played One of the recommended moves was to play c5 equals to 3. Now red will now prepare to trade away the cannon, and red will still have a playable game. But in a match, red decided to move his cannon to safety by retreating the cannon c5 minus 2. And black continued to develop his chariot, r1 equals to 4. Now if red retreated the chariot, black could play h2 minus 4, whereby the horse will be used as a cannon mount to attack the red chariot. So in the match, red decided to consolidate his defense with e7 plus 5, so that the threat of a smothered cannon checkmate would be diminished. And black would now charge his pawn forward, threatening the cannon and forcing the cannon to the edge file. And red will continue with r4 plus 8 to block the elephant's eye. Now red tries to move his chariot to safety, and black will attack the chariot as mentioned just now. Now black tries to gain some compensation by trading material, but black would have none of it. He would not capture the chariot, or it would be a checkmate. For example, if the black cannon captured the chariot, red would checkmate with r8 plus 9. So that was why black chose to advance his cannon. The black horse was still targeting the central cannon, which is one of the reasons why c5 minus 2 just now was not a good idea. So as can be seen, pressure is mounting very quickly on red's position. In the match, Grandmaster Hong Zhi decided to play r3 equals to 5 to attack the central file, but black continued with p7 plus 1, preparing to play p7 equals to 6, etc. for attack. This was also moved by red had also moved his chariot early on to the central file to prevent this move, as the cannon will now be attacking the chariot. Red captures the pawn, and now the black chariot was ready to attack with h8 plus 4 by patrolling the riverbank, and the chariot will now be prepared to play r8 equals to 6 for an attempt at a checkmate. Now, in the match, red tried to consolidate his defense with e3 minus 5, but perhaps e3 plus 5 would have been better, because it would have denied the black cannon a target to attack, and by this time the pressure was mounting greatly on red's position. Black will continue to attack with r8 equals to 6, c5 equals to 3, and this is known as the double ghost knocking attack. The Chinese name is 二鬼拍门, which translated literally would mean two ghosts knocking on the door. Red tries to play c9 equals to 4. He was hoping that the situation would become even more complicated and volatile. And by playing c9 plus 4, this chariot would now be protected, and red will have the extra option of trading chariots to relieve some pressure if need be. Now at this point in time, the cannon was threatening to checkmate, and that was why red played c5 equals to 3 earlier on. So things are going downhill for red very fast. Now at this point in time, red advanced his horse, neglecting so that red could not trade chariots. And red, when attempted to attack or play aggressively, fighting fire with fire, hoping to get out of this situation unscathed. But Black would now charge the horse across the river, threatening to capture the red chariot, and more importantly, to capture the red elephant, which had been which was now stranded. So this is the reason why a few moves later it would have been better for red to have played e3 plus 5 instead of retreating, because if this elephant was still here, it would still be linked, and the black horse will not be able to attack the central elephant. Red tries to be aggressive, but black would have none of it, and chose to continue to attack in a brilliant display. A check. At this point, red resigned. Now, why did red resign? Because the pressure that black had mounted was simply too much. A possible line was given in the magazine. So, for example, red will continue with a check, capturing the offending cannon, and a discovered check to gain material. But black would simply play k5 equals to 6 to continue to attack or threaten to checkmate. There are many options for black at this point in time. Let's say black could go for the elbow horse checkmate, forcing the horse away and capturing the cannon, capturing the chariot, etc. Let's say if red tried to defend in this manner, black would simply play c7 equals to 8, and he will still be guaranteed to win. So black will simply deliver a checkmate, deliver a check, forcing the horse to capture it, and he could still go for a spotted checkmate with the chariot. So there were simply too many ways that black could win, so that was why red chose to resign. So at this point in time, after retreating the elephant with the black pieces storming all over the place, red decided that he had enough and resigned. So this was a very seldom do you see such a aggressive attack in tournaments, especially in matches between grandmasters. A short recap: central cannon, 7-pawn advancement, screen horse defense, and black chose the right elephant variation and continued with c2 plus 1, which was a very unorthodox variation even to this day. Red accepted black's challenge, and black continued as planned, and by the 8th ply, red had already gained a horse. Red tried to move his chariot to safety, but black would have none of it, and red was forced to move the horse, hoping to develop this horse from this file, and black would not have anything to do with it and chose to play c equals to 7. Black tries to attack the chariot and develop attack the horse and develop the chariot, capturing a central pawn, and this was the first blunder that red made by the 13th ply. Black continued his attack, and after some nifty maneuvering, this cannon would now be pushed to red's pawn rank, compressing any space that the red material could move. Red tried to salvage the situation with h3 plus 5, but black would simply capture and force the elephant to danger. Now, there was the threat of a spotted cannon checkmate was ever present. Black continued to attack, and he chose to attack this rook file, continued his threat for the spotted cannon checkmate, forcing red to dislodge the central cannon to protect the elephant. Red will still go for the double ghost knocking attack, which is very rare in matches between the grandmasters. Red tries to trade chariots. Black would have none of it. And red tried to attack. Red tried to go for attack, hoping to fight fire with fire. And once the elephant was captured, basically this situation would be unsalvageable for red. Try as he might, black simply defended, sacrificing the elephant, and red resigned. So I hope you've enjoyed this very short match. Grandmaster Liu Dahua is known for his ferocity and ferocious style, and we can see his signature trademark style in this short game. And Grandmaster Hong Zhi, who is known for his ability or preference to play complicated situations, can also be seen doing quite well until he retreated his cannon over here. So if you like the work that I've been doing, and please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm just doing my 2 cents worth, trying to promote a game which I love so much. Thank you and have a nice week ahead.